Leaf Skin. The Leaf Skin is widely misunderstood by casual players who overlook it for its lack of raw damage output. But the hidden truth is that this cheap 100 gem armor is the most dominant economic accelerator in the game. Equipping this skin grants the unit a staggering 50% reduction in build time, alongside a 10% decrease in overall cost. The strategic application of this mechanic fundamentally alters the pacing of a match. It is universally considered the absolute best skin for miners. While other skins improve combat survivability or damage, the Leaf Skin uniquely allows you to rush production and reach the peak efficiency of 8 miners drastically faster than an opponent. Furthermore, placing the skin on Sword Rat amplifies their already quick training times, providing an emergency swarm of units to intercept early aggressive rushes before the AI can establish a foothold. However, its effectiveness plummets in the Endless Deads mode, where the strict population limit restricts mass swarm tactics, meaning raw unit strength and endurance becomes far more critical. Ice Skin. The Ice Skin manipulates the very flow of combat by utilizing debilitating crowd control, fundamentally changing how the enemy AI must engage your forces. Costing 500 gems per unit, the baseline mechanic of this skin is that any enemy hit by an equipped unit will suffer from frostbite, which significantly slows down every single action they take. This skin is exponentially more dangerous when equipped on Archidons. The hidden strategy here is time manipulation. By slowing the movement of enemy melee units from across the map, Archidons drastically increase the window of time in which the enemy is exposed to range fire before they can close the distance and retaliate. It is also highly effective on Magi Kill and Giants, who can apply this slowing effect across multiple units simultaneously through area of effect damage, albeit at a slower attack rate. When facing enemy AI bots equipped with this skin, players must be aware that frostbitten units are not completely helpless. They will continue to walk, strike, and even mine, just at a heavily reduced speed. Additionally, because range units always automatically target the closest threat, an enemy archer's killing power largely remains unchanged even when slowed. A crucial hidden detail to exploit is that living giants are entirely immune to the frostbite effect, making them the perfect counter to push through ice-equipped enemy lines, though reanimated giant deads can still be frozen. Salvage Skin. The Salvage Skin is an aggressive, specialized armor set that completely breaks the balance of specific game modes, acting as the ultimate countermeasure against the undead. Priced at the mid-tier cost of 1000 gems, it provides a crucial stun reduction, a flat speed bonus to both movement and attack speed while under user control, and most importantly, a massive 1.3 times damage multiplier on every single hit against deads. Because of this massive damage multiplier, the Salvage Skin transforms into a god-tier absolute necessity in the Endless Deads mode. Equipping the skin on high damage dealers like Archidons ensures that the relentless waves of deads are decimated before they can ever touch your frontline. Outside of survival modes, the skin remains highly viable in the Crown of Immortal tournaments. The hidden stun reduction mechanic is invaluable for frontline melee infantry like Spiritons and Sword Rat, who are constantly exposed to stuns from enemy shield bashes or spells. Conversely, it lacks utility for giants, who are natively immune to being stunned, and provides less value for backline units like Magi Kill, who rarely engage in close quarter stuns. Lava Skin. The Lava Skin is a highly punitive armor designed to aggressively punish enemies simply for attacking you. Positioned at the higher end of the economy at 1500 gems per unit, the core mechanic of this skin allows the wearer to reflect exactly 25% of all incoming damage back to the attacker. This reflection applies universally, meaning even enemy ranged units firing from a distance will slowly eliminate themselves by taking reflected damage. The dark truth of this skin is that it completely redefines the role of tanky units. By equipping lava on high health units like Giants and Spiritons, they become walking hazards. Because they can absorb massive amounts of damage, they can dish out devastating amounts of reflected damage. the user control micro tactic unlocks an entirely new layer of damage. Manual attacks from a lava unit apply a severe burn effect to the target, causing them to take 62.5% of the user's attack damage every 4 seconds, lasting for a staggering 13 seconds. The first instance of this burn damage occurs immediately upon impact, and any subsequent attacks will refresh the 13-second duration. To maximize this in combat, players should user control a lava giant and utilize the unlocked earthquake ability. The resulting fissure will apply the skin's devastating burn effect across multiple enemies simultaneously, causing heavy area of effect damage over time. Undead Skin. The Undead Skin introduces a terrifying snowball mechanic that turns the very concept of defeat into an overwhelming tactical advantage. Costing 2,000 gems, this skin fundamentally alters unit life cycles by guaranteeing that any equipped unit will automatically spawn back as a dead upon being eliminated. If you take manual control of an undead equipped unit and land the killing blow on an enemy, that enemy will instantly resurrect as a dead on your team. It is crucial to understand that these summoned deads operate entirely on their own AI. They will automatically advance toward the enemy lines, they ignore all player commands, and they cannot be user controlled. This conversion mechanic makes the Undead Skin devastatingly powerful when equipped on magical and giants. Because these units excel in area of effect damage, a single user controlled strike can simultaneously eliminate and convert multiple enemy units at once, instantly generating a massive zombie horde to overwhelm the AI. Giants benefits the most from the on-death effect, allowing them to linger on the battlefield as high damage tanks long after their initial health is depleted. Voltaic Skin. The Voltaic Skin demands the highest level of player skill and situational awareness, turning units into walking batteries of elemental destruction. Purchased for 2,500 gems, units equipped with this armor do not immediately deal extra damage. Instead, they slowly build up a hidden Voltaic charge every single time they successfully hit an enemy with a basic attack. This accumulated charge is visually indicated by a circular meter hovering above the unit. The raw power of this skin is entirely locked behind its user control micro tactic. When a player manually controls a Voltaic unit and strikes an enemy, it summons a violent lightning bolt down upon the target. This manual strike consumes all built-up Voltaic charge to exponentially increase the lightning's power, scaling from 60 base damage up to a massive 90 damage, while also causing the bolt to splash to nearby enemy units for 10% of its full damage. To exploit this mechanic, Archidons are the absolute best choice. Their long-range attacks allow them to safely sit in the backline and rapidly build up maximum charge, waiting for the player to briefly take control and unleash a devastating, powered-up lightning strike to instantly eliminate a high-value target. Magical and Giants, due to their slow attack speeds, build charge much slower, but they uniquely summon lightning on every single unit caught within their area of effect attacks. Because of this complex mechanic, players must constantly shift user control between different units, alternating between letting the AI build up the charge and manually taking over to release the powered up bolts. Voltaic is also one of the rare skins that grants a flat increase to health, making it universally viable for all units. Vamp Skin. The Vamp Skin is the most expensive and arguably the most self-sustaining armor in the game, reigning absolute supreme in survival scenarios. Costing a massive 3,000 gems per unit, this skin grants a suite of powerful passive buffs. Equipped units immediately gain increased overall health, complete immunity to all poison effects, and the ability to steal life from their enemies, restoring their own HP by an amount equal to 20% of the damage they deal. The user control micro tactic adds a devastating offensive layer, allowing user controlled melee attacks to inflict splash damage to surrounding enemies equal to 20% of the original strike's power. Because of these mechanics, the Vamp Skin is practically mandatory for frontline melee units like Sword Rat, Spiritans, and Giants, since these units constantly take retaliatory damage while fighting. The constant 20% lifesteal drastically increases their relative endurance, allowing them to hold the line indefinitely. Salvage Skin. The Salvage Skin completely subverts standard combat logic, turning the battlefield into a bizarre economic recycling engine that demands intense micromanagement. It operates similarly to the Leaf Skin by making units easier to mass produce, granting a flat 15% reduction to their build costs. For example, a massive giant will cost only 1,275 gold instead of the usual 1,500. However, unlike the Leaf Skin, this discount comes with a severe dark side. Units equipped with Salvage suffer from permanent reduced health and receive absolutely no improvements to their training speed. The true secret of this skin lies in its unique death mechanic. When a Salvage equipped unit is eliminated, they drop pieces of physical scrap metal on the ground. The amount of scrap dropped scales with the unit's size, meaning cheap Sword Rat drop the least, while massive giants drop the highest amount. The user control micro tactic is where this economy truly explodes. If a player takes manual control of a Salvage unit and secures a kill against an enemy, that enemy will also drop scrap upon death. The player must then physically walk their user-controlled unit over the dropped scrap to collect it, instantly converting each individual piece into 20 gold for their reserves. Because user-controlled Salvage units do not receive the movement speed buff found on Leaf Skins, collecting this scrap amidst a chaotic battle requires highly deliberate and dangerous maneuvering. This skin is designed for players who excel at mass swarm tactics and are willing to constantly shift focus to farm gold from the frontline carnage. Pyroblaze Skin. The Pyroblaze Skin is the ultimate agent of chaos, injecting devastating chain reaction explosives into the mechanics of warfare. Units equipped with this armor constantly emit glowing embers from their bodies, a visual warning of their highly volatile nature. The moment a Pyroblaze unit is taken down, it violently explodes, dealing massive area of effect damage to any enemy units caught in the immediate blast radius. However, the true devastating potential of this skin is locked behind a complex user-controlled micro tactic. By taking manual control of a Pyroblaze unit, every successful strike places a hidden explosive tag on the enemy, which can be stacked up to a maximum of 5 times on a single target. These tagged units are now walking time bomb. They will detonate upon their own death, or immediately trigger if another explosion happens anywhere near them, whether from another tagged unit dying or a friendly Pyroblaze unit exploding. To absolutely break the game with this mechanic, players must equip this skin on giants. By user controlling a Pyroblaze giant and activating the unlocked Earthquake ability, the resulting massive fissure will instantly apply explosive tags to an entire army, or a massive horde of deads simultaneously. If the player then eliminates just one of those tagged enemies, it triggers a catastrophic chain reaction of overlapping explosions that will instantly wipe out even the toughest high health units on the battlefield. Furthermore, equipping the skin on cheap Sword Rat, effectively turning them into high speed bombers, capable of rushing into enemy lines to inflict massive disruption and chained explosive damage.